Okay, you guys, I'm going to show you kind of what an application will look like and then how to go about filling it out. So for the most part, job applications follow similar like a setup and they ask very similar information. So this is one from Subway and it is an application from Subway. I just went ahead and put it into a digital form. And so when you fill out job applications, sometimes places will ask you to fill out a paper application. And if you are getting a paper application, always ask for two. The first one, you want to go through and write down all the answers, make mistakes if you have them. So that way, when you have the second copy, everything is going to be crisp, it's going to be clean, there's going to be no scratches on the side or crossed out markings or anything like that. So that way, you can turn it in, it's going to be nice and neat. So this is the online one. I'm just going to kind of go through and tell you what I'm expecting out of this. I am not going to fill it out with you. So first one that starts out with is personal information, and you are going to put your name. Put your actual name. So if you have a nickname, like let's say your friends call you Jake, but your real name is Jacob, please make sure to put down your full legal name. The address, the telephone, all this stuff. I'm not looking for your exact address or your real address or your real phone. If that's something that you would like to put the school's address down, so you can Google Rogers Middle School and find their address, you can do that. I do not have the time of day to call you. So if you put your phone number down, that's okay. I'm not going to call you. I don't have any interest to do that. But if this was a real Subway application and you were filling it out to actually get the job, please make sure that you put the real correct information down. When you guys are filling this out, I do want you to put your answers in a different color. And so let's say if you were filling out an actual job application, like on paper, you would want to use either blue or black pen. Those are two really good options. For this online one, I'm going to ask that you fill out using either red. So do like one of these darker reds. This one's a little bit too bright. So either a red or a blue. That way. So like if I type my name, I'm going to be able to see it a lot better versus having it all be in black in the same color. Okay. So dress, telephone, make sure you put those down. And then have you ever worked at Subway before? So this is our first job, probably your first job as well. So in that situation, you would say no. But let's say that you have worked at Subway before and it was at a different location, then you would say yes, and then where that location was. Okay. Then you have in case of emergency. This is a person that you trust. So someone that, let's say you get hurt at work. So let's say you're, slicing meat at Subway on the meat cutter machine and you cut your hand. Someone needs to take you to the hospital. This is the person you're going to put down who you know they will come and bring you there. So for most of us, it'd probably be our parents, maybe our grandparents, maybe an aunt or uncle, someone that you know that will help you if you need it. So put their name down. If it is your parents, please don't put mom. Please write down who that person is, their first and last name. And then in parentheses, you could put like mom, dad, grandpa, grandma, aunt, uncle, whoever. So their name, then the telephone, and their address. Again, you can do real ones. And if this was a real job application, you would need to put the real number, because if you put a fake number down and you actually cut your hand, they actually need to get a hold of that person. And the address. Then next up, we have availability. Are you legally able to be employed in this country? Yes. What type of position are you seeking? So we have 3 different types. The first one's part-time, then we have full-time and temporary. Part-time is working 40 hours or more a week. And so that's what most adults have. They have just kidding. Okay, sorry. Part-time is working 20 hours or less typically, or at least less than 40 hours a week. Most of the time it's not consistent. So that is part-time. So that is something that you guys are going to be looking for. Now we have full-time. Sorry about that. Full-time is 40 hours or more a week. So that's typically what most adults have. And it could be consistent hours. Maybe it's like working evenings or things like that. And then you have temporary. And sometimes this happens with like seasonal type workers. So it might be maybe road construction in the summer. Or if you think about the holidays, they usually need more people to work, from like October till January. So that would be more of like a temporary position. The one that you guys are going to be looking for is part-time, and that is because you are in school. This might be different though for you. Let's say if you're getting a job in the summer. So that could be temporary, but then maybe in that situation, you might be making or working more than 20 hours a week. And then, are you able to meet the attendance requirements of this job? Yes. So if you put full-time down, you would not be able to meet those attendance requirements. But if you did part-time, then yes. Then this is your availability. So you have all the days of the week. The from and to means like when you can work from. So starting at what time to the end time. So let's say, as an example, for me, I'm going to do red this time. I cannot work Sundays because I need a day to do homework. We're going to highlight all these so that way they all are red. Okay. Then on Monday, you are going to be busy from 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning until approximately 3:15 in the afternoon. And that is because you have school. So like I said, in the summer, that would be a different situation. But school is your number one priority, first obligation. So let's say on these days, you can work from 3:30 p.m. to Subway, I think, closes at 10. 3:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. And then let's say on Tuesdays, maybe you're in a sport. And so on Tuesdays, you know that you have some sort of a practice after school, or that's your game nights, or maybe you're in band. And so you have some sort of an obligation for that. Maybe you're in dance. So think about your other obligations that you have to attend to. And they might look at that. So an employer might see, oh, I can't work this day, this day, this day. They might say, you know what? I don't think we can hire you just because you do have a lot of other obligations, and they don't want to be put on the back burner, and they want to make sure that you are actually going to come to your assigned shift. So, but let's say we'll just keep going. I can work Tuesday from 3:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. And even though I'm filling these out like that, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to schedule you for that whole time. Okay, that's just saying I'm available during these times. Wednesdays, I can't work because I have game nights, 3:30 to 10. 3:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. And same thing for Friday. And then Saturday, let's say I'm available all day. I could start working at 7:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. Again, they're not going to schedule you that whole shift. That is a super long, insane shift. But you're available during that time frame. Now you need to tell me how many hours you're available per week. And that doesn't necessarily mean how many hours you have put on here, but out of your availability, how many hours do you want to work? And so I would say a good one for you guys is 20. That is that happy kind of number. And it might even be 15 or 10. Like, let's say you have sports or you're part of some other extracurricular activities, 20 might be too much for you. So 10 to 15 might be better. Date available to start, you could put down ASAP, and that just means as soon as possible. Okay. that's how you fill that part out. School most recently attended. You would put down Rogers Middle School. What's the address? You're going to have to use your resources. So look up online, what's Rogers Middle School address? So kind of be a problem solver when you fill this out. Teacher or counselor, if you would like to put down me, you can. When you put down a teacher or a counselor's name, you can use their full name, okay? Last grade attended, you can just put 8th grade since you're 8th graders. Your grade average, find that one out. And then if you're involved in any sports or activities. So this is where you want to be honest about what other obligations you have. Now we're on to most recent employment. This is one option. This is the other. You must fill these out. Okay. Obviously, this is going to be your first job. So you don't have a most recent employment. Okay. But things that I want you to think about is that you need to have volunteer opportunities. Maybe you volunteered at Feed My Starving Children. Maybe you volunteered at a local food shelf where you were packing things, or maybe you volunteered at a humane society, things like that. So like as an example, one thing that I always put down is that my family and I foster dogs through Rough Start Rescue. So that's something that I could put down as a volunteer opportunity. So employment, again, you're not going to have a specific job, but volunteer opportunities is something good that you could put down. If you babysat before, that's something that you could put down. Maybe you mow your neighbor's lawn in the summer. That could be something that you put down. Any sort of leadership position that you've had before. So maybe on sports, you're some sort of a leader, things like that. Okay, so kind of get creative with this. If you don't have any volunteer opportunities that you've done, or any leadership roles, or any babysitting, or anything like that, this is kind of a wake-up call for you. Start getting that stuff in, because when it comes time to actually filling out a job application, when you really want a job, you're going to need those things to get it. Okay. Next up, do we have permission to contact your current employer? Yes? If no, please explain, so you don't have to worry about that. You should, unless you have had a bad experience, or maybe you messed up on something big time, or you just kind of dropped the ball in some area, maybe you want them to contact that employer. So maybe you want, let's say you just messed something up, maybe don't put them down. Okay. Then references, no family members. When you put a reference down, this is somebody who your place of employment, so Subway, they are going to call this person and ask them questions about you. Okay, so you do not want to put down your mom or your grandparents or your siblings, and please, please, please do not put down your friends. Okay, it should be someone who is a little bit older than you, someone who knows of your experience kind of professionally. Teachers are good options for references as long as you have a good relationship with that teacher and they can speak to who you are as a person and whether or not you are responsible. That's someone who you should put down as a reference. Okay, so maybe if you are someone who has mowed your neighbor's lawn for a couple years now, and they know that you're responsible and you're timely and you're dependable, that would be a good person to put down. Okay, so you need to have 2 different references. Put their address. Again, if you wrote down an actual application, like if you were actually turning in this into Subway, you would want the actual address. But for this assignment, I'm not requiring it. Okay, so you can just put down the Rogers Middle School address if you would like. And then make sure to write down how many years you've known them. Then we have a test. The first 2 questions are based off like money, and then the last 4 questions are more of like situational questions. For all of these questions, you need to make sure you fill them out as in full, complete sentences. So I don't want to see any, like, as an example, which do you consider more important as far as a restaurant is concerned? Courteous, prompt service, or quality product? If you just say quality product and then leave it at that, that is not a good answer. It needs to be in complete sentences. So you might say, I think quality product is most important because, and then go on to list your reason. Okay, same thing up here. Say what you would do. Then down below, there's an e-signature, so you'll sign your name and then put your date that you completed this application. Okay. An e-signature, if you fill out a job application online, that's what they're going to have. But for other applications that you fill out on paper, you will just sign your name normally, and then they might even have a spot that asks you to print it as well. So that is how to fill out our job application.